Okay, just a few reflections on the Inyan of the crossover between Vayahkhel, Pekudei, and Parshas HaChodesh. Um, the questions on Parshas HaChodesh are very well known, very obvious, and we've spoken about it in the past. Why is it the first mitzvah? We saw God as a nation. Right, that's what Rashi opens up in Chodesh. Why? What is about the Inyan of Kiddush HaChodesh that must set the tone for what all mitzvahs are about, right? If it's the first mitzvah that we got, and then of course in most Shana Pshutas it comes out Parshas Pekudei. Now and there's also a very famous question that we have asked about seemingly the redundancy that Vayahkhel Pekudei just repeats everything that there is in Truma Tetzaveh. And we spoke about that last year, and I just want to reopen it from a different angle, and then therefore you know zero in on the crossover between HaChodesh and Vayahkhel Pekudei. And the right, everyone knows the famous Gemara that when Moshe Rabbeinu, it's a Gemara in Brachas, Kamendumani, I think it's Daf Nun Daled, I believe, right? When Moshe Rabbeinu came and told Betzalel, right, to make the Mishkan, so he told him to make Oron Kalim Mishkan. And Betzalel asked him, wait a minute, Rabbeinu Moshe, Kalim Shani no Osech Machnisem, maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you to make Mishkan, Oron, and Kalim. He said, oh, you're right. Betzel Kel Hayisa. You must be in the shadow of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is something which we already discussed in earlier years that we spoke about it, that the way Moshe Rabbeinu says this, the way it's right, exactly. I knew it too. Remember everything, right? The way Moshe Rabbeinu said it is the way it's written before in Parshas Truma, black on white. After Vasili Mikdash, then it starts talking about the dimensions of the Oron, and then the other Kelim, and then the Eser Mishkan Tasa Eser Yerios is later. Right? And in the way it says in Vayahkhel Pekudei, it's tucked away like Betzalel said. So what's this? They're both right. Aside from the ideological question, how can Moshe Rabbeinu not remember accurately what HaKadosh Baruch Hu said? Right? Then the Chas v'Shalom, we don't know if we're practicing the real Judaism if you can't rely on Moshe Rabbeinu. Right, and thirdly, what's this thing of Betzal Shimcha Betzal Betzel Kel? You're in the shadow of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. What's this shadow business? Right? So what we said, in, last year and in previous years, Alpi, the Ramban talks about it, but it's more expanded by the Gaon. Is that there's the machshava and then there's the Maisa, right? And the Mishkan exists, as we explained, b'machshava and b'maisa. There's the Mishkan b'leiv. There's the Mishkan Elyon. It's and there's the Mishkan l'maisa. And so there's and machshava and maisa have an inverse relationship. Sof maisa b'machshava tchila. In machshava, last thing first. The goal, the tachlis is first in mind, and in maisa, you get to the goal at the end, right? Like we will get to the goal, and we'll get there. Be'ezrat Hashem. Be'ezrat Hashem. All right. So the tachlis of the Mishkan is the Aron, because that's v'noadati l'chasham, because that's all tachlis. That's where HaKadosh Baruch Hu meets us. Noadati l'chasham. Right, but so that's why the Aron is first in Parshas Truma, which is Moshe Rabbeinu the Machshava. Betzalel is a man of Lemaisa. All right, so it stands. It's not practical. So, and Vayahkhel Pekudei is talking about the actual building of the Mishkan, Praktish. So they made the Urias first, the oil, and then they put in the Aron and Kalim. Right? And then this relationship between Maisa and Machshava says the Gaon is like a man in his shadow. If you raise your right arm, your shadow raises his left arm. Right? It's mirrors. And mirrorless, that's why so the Maisa follows the Machshava, but like the shadow follows the prime object, right? And this is all we said in previous years, but now it's time to get a little bit, a little bit deeper and from a slightly different angle to go a little bit deeper, about the Indian of a shadow. Why the Lamaisa part is called the shadow, right? That Bezalel figured out what his job is, mitzad a practical point of view, right? Why that's called a shadow, right? Famous saying: if it ain't broke, don't fix. Right? The Indian of tikkun, right, only applies if there's room for improvement, right? And that's the big mila, chisaron, which is a mila, right, of olam hazeh, right, that makes olam hazeh the ikar. In heaven, there's nothing to improve. There's nothing to make better. It was created perfect. It was created perfect already. And that's why malachim are called omdim. So now omed, Vayahkhel malachim ben omdim. Omed on the has two meanings to it. First of all, chai v'kayim, like leman yamdu yamim rabim. The angels are immortal. They don't die. There's a concept in certain Chazal that certain angels are renewed every day and certain angels are standing, but even the ones that are renewed every day, it's because they represent kochos that have to be removed and then replaced. But mitzad their teva, they don't grow up. They don't need to grow up. The way they are created is the way they are, and that's also omim lashon stagnant, because what's perfect also doesn't change. Stationary, right? The other is called the holech.
Equilibrium. Net force is equal to zero.
Yeah, something like that. But the Adam is called a holech. Now, of course, this also has a dual connotation, right? Because animals are holchim also. On the one hand, it means unstable, right? And you're not going to keep you're not stable. You're not omed in one place.
Walk on two.
What?
Because we only walk on two and not on four.
Yeah. No, but animals also. And you're unstable, and therefore also you have to die. You're not going to live forever. Right? But it also means you can change your position. Right? And that's our mission in this world. Right? The mission in this world is turn our instability into a shirish, into turn that lack of stability and lack of perfection into the opportunity to steig and become greater than the way you were born. No other creature can do that. Every other creature, the way it's born is the way it's going to be. Animals have a pchisus that they even end up worse than the way they were born because they wind up dead, right? So in that sense, they're also holchim, but not in any positive sense. Whereas Avraham Avinu, his mission begins with the words lech lecha, lech lecha, right? And that's halacha is called halichos olam halichos el halachos, because it's all about changing. The very fact that you're a holech, you turn that to an advantage, because since you're not stuck in your position, you don't have to dafka go down. You could use the fact that you're not stuck and stable as an opportunity to go up. And you could be in this Allah even above the malachim. Right now, if the malachim are closer than us, what is Bilam saying is bracha to klal. So, case Yomai Yisrael ma Vayahkhel, said Chazal Darshan in the Gemara. Osidim Yisrael lios bifnim u'malach hashar b'chutz, and the malach hashar is going to ask us ma Vayahkhel, what did our Kodesh Baruch Hu do today? What did our But that's our koach as holchim, right? That's our koach as holchim, right? And we can now use our the fact that we are variable to use that to our advantage and to outsteig the malach hasharis. They're better than us, but they can't change their position. But that's an amazing thing. Now, think about it. The very thing that makes us susceptible to chet, that very same thing is also the portal for greatness, because that instability is what it's also the opportunity to steig, and advance. The possibility to lose is also the possibility to gain. like let's say going to a court case, let's say, right? The sikui, in Ivrit it rhymes so much better. The sikui and the sikun, the chance and the risk. It's like cute. In Ivrit it rhymes a lot more, which accentuates that, the opportunity, the shorish of the opportunity comes from the same place, right? But this is also what it means, chidush. Chidush. What's a chidush? What's new? Our Shalmach says, Ein chodesh tachas hashemesh. Nothing new under the sun. Because the solar calendar has to be adjusted, maybe once in 1,000 years or something like that, so I'm told, right? The sun is like, the perfect, example of something that, doesn't change, right? Right? Because, Chiddush means that there's going to be a change, but a change for the better. And that doesn't happen under the sun. But as my Rebbe, Moshe Shapiro, Zechron Livracha, said, I didn't hear it from directly, but I heard from another Talmud, says, Ein chodesh tachas hashemesh, tachas hayoreach. Yeah, that's why the time of the moon is called Chodesh, Milashon Chadash. Ein chodesh tachas hashemesh, but the yoreach, which is not stable, it's sometimes chaser, sometimes it's mitmaleh and mitchaser. First 14 days, it gets bigger. Then the second 14 days, it gets smaller. Keneged, says the Ramchal, the 28 itim that there are in Sefer Koheles, that for every good one there's a bad one. It's lifkos. 14 good ones, 14 bad ones, says the Ramchal. Connected to 14 days that the Levana is getting bigger, and connected to 14 days that it shrinks. Right? The miut haLevana. The end of the miut haLevana. The Kodesh says Haviu like kapar shematias hayareach, is that the moon's chelik of the mitzias has been mitma'et. It was made smaller. It was made deficient. But that makes Rosh Chodesh. That's on Rosh Chodesh. We bring this chatas laHashem Haviu like kapara al shemi'atati hayareach. Right? That's called the chisaron in the bria. But we turn the chisaron into a mila. Right? It's the opportunity to bring chiddush to the world, and that's really the chiddush. The chiddush, the great cosmic chiddush, is that we of this world and this world itself is used to be above the olam elyonim, and what makes that chiddush are mitzvahs. That's what mitzvahs do. Mitzvahs are world changers, but mitzvahs don't work in the olam elyon, right? Because the olam elyon is immutable. And that's why the tzaddikim, they cry before they die because they want to stay in this world. Not because they only want to be oved HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's no avodah to be done up there. There's nothing to fix, but it's also therefore no chiddush, because the big chiddush is that this world that's b'shvala madregas is also to be very, very high. That's the chiddush, right? So there's no chiddush. Ein chodesh tachas Hashem. In the mashpia, there's no chiddush. In the Makabel, in the moon, in us on earth, that's where the Chiddush is. Right? And that's what happened with the Hakamas HaMishkan on earth. The Hakamas HaMishkan on earth, that was a Chiddush. Right? That the Shechina was only Bel Yonim, and now it's Betachtonim. And that's the sod that Nisan, which is Rosh HaChodashim, was also the month of Hukam HaMishkan. That's the Chiddush. That's the Chiddush. Right? But if Olam Hazeh would have already been full of ore, right, from the get-go, there would have been nothing to fix. And that's what it means, a shadow. A shadow is created by miut ore, by hester ore. This entity called a shadow wouldn't exist if there would be ore everywhere. If there wouldn't have been a miut hayareach that gives the avor of Rosh Chodashim, there would be no such thing as a shadow. Right? So it creates this creature called a shadow, which is all created by the miut ore. Right, and the shadow, and that's us. That's us. We're shadows. We have a job to do because there's been a miut or that gave us the opportunity to do something. If HaKadosh would have immediately from the get-go filled the world with light, we would have not, we wouldn't feel that we have anything to do in life. The miut or makes us, as we exist as ovdim, like the shadow. Like the hester or gives it a kiyum, right? And that's what Betzel Kaisa, you're a shadow. And the shadow is all mushashin of the miut hayareach, right? Which is the moonlight, right? That part of the reality that's controlled by the moon is not sholim. It doesn't shine as brightly as the sun. But we turn that into invention. There is a shadow doing avodah, right? A shadow that's changing this world that's imperfect. And that's the chiddush, and that's the ikar nachas that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets from the bria. And here's the amazing thing, right? Just like the shadow is supposed to follow the prime object, not declare independence, right? Right? The moon, that's the makabel, is not as big as the sun, which is the mashpia and I. Pnei Moshe Pnei Chama, right? Right? And it is, right? Pnei Moshe Pnei Chama, right? And Pnei Yoshua Pnei Levana. And the Ikar Kiddush HaChodesh is in Eretz Yisrael. The Ikar Makom of the Mikdash is in Eretz Yisrael. It was only in the desert temporarily, right? And that's Emunas Sitecha, Emunas Zes Seder's Royim. Lagi Vemunascha Balelos. You only need Emuna when the emes is somewhat hidden. That's when you need Emuna. It's Vemunascha Balelos. It's Keneged Miut Halavana. And the Ikar Makom for making this tikkun of bringing light into the darkness of Olam Hazeh is in Eretz Yisrael. And that's where the Mikdash is supposed to be. And Shitas Aram is that Kiddush HaChodesh is only in Eretz Yisrael. And the Rambam Shita, the Ramban argues, but the Rambam has a very radical Shita, that the Yidden living in Eretz Yisrael are the living representation of the last Sanhedrin of Hillel II, who made the Luach. And Ram writes theoretically, the Yishuv in Eretz Yisrael would be Nechrav, the Luach would become Batel, because Kiddush HaChodesh is only in Eretz Yisrael. Right? And therefore, it says black and white, Sefer Mitzvahs, the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael are the living Hemshech of that Sanhedrin that set up the Luach. Right? Because that's the place. That's why Pnei Yoshua Pnei Levana, because that's where we make the chiddush of bringing or to Olam Hazeh. The Midbar is not Olam Hazeh. Midbar is nowhere. Or of bringing or, and that's why the Ikar Mak of the Beis Olamim is in Eretz Yisrael. And in Eretz Yisrael is where the Kiddush HaChodesh is. It's all about bringing or to Olam Hazeh. Right? So just like the shadow must never deviate from the prime object, right? So also, when we bring the Chiddush to the world, which is now we understand why Kiddush HaChodesh is the example of what all mitzvahs are. Kiddush HaChodesh, put Kedusha into the moon, put Kedusha into the darkness, right? That the moon, which is it represents the instability and the chesroinus of Olam Hazeh, but be mekadesh it, bring Kedusha to it, and there's going to be a v'nahafochu, that this which is lower is going to ask it to be higher because of how it's malleable, and we can work with it. Right? So there's a din in Kiddush HaChodesh Vayahkhel zos lemoada, right? That we have to keep we have to always do the ibur and keep it consistent with the sun, right? That we have the opportunity of Chiddush, which is only in the world of Maisa, right? Because the world of Maisa is the only thing that needs fixing. And it hence is stretchable, malleable, and can even be made higher than the Olam Hasalyonim, right? But we must not take that, that latitude and run away with it. We mustn't run away with it. We have to stay faithful to the source. So you have to make sure that the Shnas HaLevana doesn't deviate from the solar cycle. You have to do the Ibur, right? To keep, be Mechadish. Change the world, change yourself and change the world. That's Yikar Nachas HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets. It only happens in Gashmias. It doesn't happen in Ruchnias, right? And that's the difference between, we said, Purim and Pesach, right? That, Purim was a big hischachus, but only in the heart, but not in the Olam HaMaisa, because it's still Akati Avirach Hashver Shanan. That's why there's no Din Halo. As opposed to Pesach, the world changed. The physical world changed. Man Sapra Shmi B'chol HaOretz. Man Sapra Shmi B'chol HaOretz. Right? The world changed in Nisan. That's why Hakamas HaMishkan in Lamaisa was in Nisan. Nisan is the month when physical reality changes. And that's the Ikar Chiddush. Right? That's the Ikar Nachas that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gets. Right? But, there's, and that's why, the Kiddush HaChodesh is what mitzvahs are all about. Put Kedusha into the Levana, put the Kedusha into the Choshech of Olam Hazeh. And that's the Chiddush. Medrash Rabbah says, that's Tachas Hashemesh, there's no Chodesh, but there is Chodesh Tachas Hayareach, right? But we can't take that, license to create and run away with it. You have to keep the Chodesh Halavana in sync with the Chodesh Hachama, with the Machzor Hachama, with the solar cycle, just like the shadow shouldn't take his existence that he was granted by the Miut Or and run away. Like Peter Pan lost his shadow, right? Right? That shouldn't be. The shadow has to stay samud.
That's because he was English.
They steal everything, right? Shadows. Shadow was his Yerusha. But anyway, so the as I want to say, and that's Be'ezrat Kodesh will help that all the dark times are really used to become the Or HaYeshua. All the I was very listen. We had this halfway, but it's only because it's still Ador. We had this halfway in Eretz Yisrael. We revealed the truth, just nothing changed in Lamaisa yet, but it's because not Nisan yet. Right, but we had a definite moral victory, and then and it happened bad vivad. I knew Donald was being surveilled. I knew it was the truth. Right, and the truth came out. Question what's going to be Lamaisa. That's what Nisan will show us. The Hakmas HaMishkan Lamaisa. What the change to physical reality, which is the Iker difference we're supposed to make. And one more thing, I said this all along, right? Except I didn't have it 100% right. I said all along, all these bomb threats on the JCCs, it's not from Trump supporters. It's baloney. It's
Israeli.
It was a Beclau in Israel. I thought for sure it was liberals trying to make Trump look bad.
What was the point? What was he trying to accomplish?
My guess is if it's one of these crazy
BDS?
Zionists, trying to scare Jews to move to Israel.
Is that it?
What?
I wouldn't be surprised. Either that or BDS movement.
What's BDS?
Boycott Israel type of thing.
No, but it's an Israeli guy.
I know, but Israeli leftists are part of the BDS.
Yeah. No, I was.
Boycott and the S. And what does the S stand for?
Sanctions.
Sanctions, right?
Yeah.
Sanctions.
Yeah.
Sanctions.
Can I open one of these?
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
everybody.
Thank you,
See
Routine.
guys
Thank you
in
so much,
seconds.
brother.
I hope
All right, it will
everything
be.
works out. It's not
Yeah,
over
amen.
yet. Not over till
It's-
it's over.
It's not over. It's not over.
Fine.
L'chaim. It's not over. Chol Minim V'chol Laimis Mary Karesu Vaisal Hashem Hamlucha.